Welcome to This Explainer. You know that feeling staring at a tired old coffee table or a thrift store dresser and thinking, man, I'd love to flip that, but the endless hours of sanding. It's the ultimate DIY buzzkill, right? It stops so many incredible projects before they even start. Well, today we are completely demystifying the furniture flipping process. We're looking at the retailer training guide and brand resources for Granny B's old-fashioned paint. And let me tell you, their eco-friendly, super accessible paints are an absolute game changer for stress-free transformations. Let's dive in and see how you can bring your creative vision to life without all that backbreaking prep work.
Right off the bat, let's tackle the giant elephant in the room. It is literally the most common anxiety-inducing question every single beginner asks when standing in the paint aisle. Does it need sanding? Because if you're tackling melamine, glossy wood, or something previously varnished, just the thought of stripping it down to the bare grain is exhausting.
Well, you can breathe a massive sigh of relief because the answer is usually a big, resounding no. Heavy sanding is basically history with Granny B's. Here's the secret. Cleaning is vastly more important than sanding. Sure, a light scuff might help on ultra-glossy surfaces, but the real key to getting this paint to stick like glue is just removing the hidden grease and grime. That means you can jump right into your project and see results almost immediately. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the three-step method, then dive into old-fashioned chalk paint, followed by Polka, the modern smooth finish. After that, we'll figure out choosing your perfect paint and wrap up with solving common DIY problems.
All right, jumping right into section 1, the foundation, the three-step method. No matter what you're painting, this is your universal golden rule. Clean, paint, protect. It's elegantly simple. Step 1, clean. Honestly, this is where the magic actually happens. You've got to scrub away the grease, polish, silicone, and dust with something like sugar soap or lacquer thinners. Step 2 is paint. The secret here isn't globbing it on. You want thin, even coats, letting them dry properly in between. 2 coats usually nails it. And step 3, protect. Okay, maybe you skip this for a decorative picture frame, but for a kitchen table or daily use cupboards, you absolutely must seal it with a product like Armor, Classic Seal, or a decorative wax.
Moving on to section 2, path A, old-fashioned chalk paint. So you've got 2 main aesthetic paths. The first one is beautifully summed up by their in-store messaging, vintage soul, modern results. You see, old-fashioned paint isn't just about changing a color. It's an artistic, expressive medium. It's designed to bring out the character, the texture, and a real sense of history in a piece, all while using super reliable modern paint technology. So when do you actually use this stuff? Well, old-fashioned paint is your absolute go-to for vintage and farmhouse furniture. Because it's highly pigmented and a little more textured, it gives you insane creative flexibility. You can distress it, dry brush it, blend colors, or layer decorative effects. It sticks beautifully to wood, pine, MDF, and even tricky stuff like ceramics and metal decor. If you're a beginner wanting to tackle a fun rustic craft project, this is for sure your starting line.
Next up, section 3, path B, Polka, the modern smooth finish.
Okay, but what if you aren't into the rustic look? What if you want something sleek? Enter Polka. Their key retail phrase for this one is glides like silk. Guys, this is not traditional chalk paint. Polka is specially formulated to be a self-leveling paint. That means, as it dries, it literally flattens itself out, drastically reducing those annoying brush marks. It's engineered for people who just want a clean, contemporary look with way less frustration and project time. Polka paint is basically the total opposite of the old-fashioned line. It's made for smooth, contemporary finishes. It belongs in minimalist spaces and on modern cabinetry. The adhesion is incredibly strong, which actually makes it the superior choice for high-traffic updates like kitchen cupboards or notoriously tricky surfaces like melamine and laminate. Plus, it has a tighter, trend-driven color palette, so you won't get decision fatigue when you're just trying to knock out a fast, effortless lifestyle makeover. All right, section 4, choosing your perfect paint. You've got these 2 amazing paths, so how do you actually decide? Think of it this way. Old-fashioned paint is your ticket to a chalky, matte, vintage, rustic vibe. It's got texture, making it excellent for distressing. Polka paint, on the other hand, gives you a smooth, matte, modern contemporary finish. Because it self-levels, it actively resists heavy texturing. It boils down to this. Are you looking for textured character or sleek uniformity? To make it totally foolproof, here are the exact 5 questions retail staff use to find your perfect fit. 1. What are you painting? 2. What look do you want? 3. Is the surface glossy? 4. Is the item high traffic?
And 5, do you want a vintage or modern vibe? By just answering those, boom, you instantly know your product choice, your prep requirements, and whether you absolutely need to invest in a heavy-duty sealer. And hey, if you're still feeling a little intimidated, just listen to this review from Monica Volpe. So easy to use and can be used by anyone. If you are a beginner or an experienced craftsman, Granny Bee products will make it so easy. That really hits the nail on the head. Whether you choose the vintage path or the modern path, both lines are incredibly accessible, forgiving, and beginner-friendly. Finally, Section 5, Solving Common DIY Problems. Because let's be real, even with the best paint in the world, life happens. Problem number 1, peeling paint. There is literally nothing worse than painting a piece and watching it chip right off. But the culprit is almost always poor cleaning, leaving behind grease, silicone polish, or trying to paint over an old wax finish. The fix is straightforward. You've got to go back to the foundation. Clean the area thoroughly with sugar soap, grab a stain blocker like Block and Tackle if you need to, and then repaint. Proper adhesion is all about a squeaky clean surface. Now, what about wood bleed and brush marks? Wood bleed happens when natural tannins in the wood seep up, causing these nasty yellow or brown stains in your fresh paint. The fix? Super easy. Apply Block and Tackle stain blocker to neutralize it, let it dry, and repaint. And those heavy brush marks? Usually, that comes from overworking the paint or putting it on too thick. Use thin coats and a good quality brush. And remember, if brush marks really stress you out, Polka naturally levels smoother than the old-fashioned chalk paint anyway. So, we've covered the methods, the products, and the troubleshooting. Now it all comes down to your personal vision. Are you leaning towards vintage soul with all that rich, distressed character, or modern results with a sleek, effortless finish? What will your next masterpiece be? Thank you so much for joining this explainer. Hopefully you now feel totally empowered to skip the endless sanding, grab a brush, and start transforming your space today.